Everyone's trying to sell high-ticket AI systems on the first sales call, and that's exactly why they're failing. Smart AI strategists know the truth that if you start with a $3,000 build, you can then ramp up to $50,000 or more lifetime value for each client. And this is the infrastructure formula that actually works. Once you land a $2,000 to $5,000 pilot project that solves one painful problem, you can personally scale it to another series of problems and basically become their AI growth partners and build out AI infrastructure for them. So after personally building and selling over $100,000 in AI infrastructure in just the past 12 months and getting rejected on at least 100 sales calls along the way, I discovered what separates winners from losers in the AI space. You need to over deliver and you'll earn weekly strategy calls. And then inside of those calls, you can become the consultant. You can go inside their business and understand every single process. And then months 2 and 3 down the road, you propose the infrastructure, lead generation, sales automations, analytics dashboards, etc., etc. And by month 6, you're their fractional chief AI officer at $10,000 per month. The 80-20 rule still applies. 80% relationship building and strategic thinking, 20% technical implementation. I'm exposing the exact progression that turns cold prospects into $50K lifetime clients on this call, and I want to go from start to finish of what you need to know about the shift and how to actually implement it. So let's dive right in. So the core framework here is that you essentially need to start out with small ticket projects. Most people are trying to price high on the first call and make these, one-time fee $10,000 projects. But what you need to do is you need to focus on the, $1,000 to $5,000 projects and then ramp up over time, become a growth partner for these different businesses. So right now you're probably hitting $500 per month, not 500,000, $500 per month. With a growth rate of maybe 5%, maybe you get one new client per month, maybe you have 2 or 3, maybe you lose one. Your bottlenecks are that, your leads aren't very great, your sales process isn't great, you don't understand your customers, and you don't know how to deliver. So for a more comprehensive system, you could go to these people and you could say, hey, I'm going to implement lead scoring, sales nurturing, customer success. I'm going to reduce your churn. You're focusing on the objectives and the outcomes and the numbers rather than just, I'm going to sell you this cool chatbot, right? And there's a tech stack that you can use to build this. You have to build out the entire AI infrastructure. So what that means is that on the front end, you have lovable dashboards with user analytics, different systems, and you're using these, using various different vibe coding tools, either Cursor, Lovable, with GitHub, Figma, etc. On the back end, you have N8N workflows, make.com automations, Python scripts, API calls, webhook handlers. And then underneath that, you have Supabase, Redis, file storage, data analytics. And then underneath those are kind of the third-party services. You have the AI models, you have the CRMs, the social media APIs, calendar systems. So essentially, you have this entire tech stack. I know this kind of looks a little bit complicated, but you have this tech stack which will allow you to build out an infrastructure for them so that you can give them higher ticket experiences, right? So if you're looking at a growth stage company with 25 headcount, 100K to 5 million in monthly revenue, then what you can essentially say is that $15,000 per month is not that big of an investment. But no matter how big the company is, they're not, if you're a stranger and you ran a cold email campaign, which I suggest that you do, and I'll show you how to do it later in this video, and I'll show you the roadmap. If you're running these campaigns, these people don't know you. And what I learned after doing 100+ sales calls is that you're still a stranger to them. And so even a $5,000 investment is a lot up front, and it's actually really difficult to sell a $5,000 investment. So that's why you focus on getting the opportunity in the door and proving value, right? So you say, hey, I'm going to build this out. It's going to be $2,000. This is everything we're going to do. I'm going to consult with you along the way, give you the entire strategy. Then once we finish building that out, if you like my services, I can talk about the different ways we can automate and make your company an AI first company. So this is what we mean by value-based pricing. You're giving them a price based on, what their current budget is, but also not going too high. Rather than, if you're trying to go after smaller companies, less than 25 headcount, less than 100K monthly revenue, 5K feels massive for them, and they have high risk aversion. And so what you need to focus on here is essentially giving them the best possible experience that you can, right? So you get them in for a low ticket, $1,000 to $5,000 thing. You deliver with N8N workflows, with, vibe coded projects with various different things on the back end. You're connecting all these APIs, Superbase, AI agents, Python scripts, N8N workflows. And then you have these lovable dashboards, which I've taught on this channel how to build. So I'm not going to go into that right now. You create these dashboards that let them get insight into the project, right? And so a lot of people have said like, oh, you're just like building a random dashboard and selling it. Like, no, you're building out the systems that are high value. The dashboard is just like the way that the client is interfacing with the work that you're doing so that they're continually seeing the value that you provide. So the end user sees only the dashboard, but what's underneath the dashboard is everything else. But you don't need them to see this. They don't want to see your N8N, your webhooks, your API sockets, your agents, your Superbase, SQL databases, right? And so you basically set up anything that you need, CRM, sales systems for them. You maintain the system. Then once you prove the value, you can say, hey, so we completely automated this one part of your business. You can see the dashboard. You can see all of the insights and analytics from that. We'd love to automate the next part of your business. And based on our conversations and thinking about the business strategy component here, I think that the next feature, the next system that we should build is this, because it will remove this bottleneck and constraint for you and help you unlock massive revenue, right? So most people go in to these sales calls with the wrong focus, and this is why they fail. They have this technical focus. Hey, Mr. John Doe from Iowa, here's this N8N workflow I built for you. So we did some webhook configurations here and some vector databases. It's going to cost us about $3,000 a month to run this. And yeah, what do you think? What do you think a client's going to say to that? They're going to be like, why the hell are you telling me about N8N agents and webhooks and vector databases? I don't care. Now, if you go into the call from a different perspective, you say, hey, I'm an AI strategist and expert. I have a team with me building out different AI systems. So I took a look at your business and I figured that the thing that you could probably unlock the most revenue for you is this specific constraint. Therefore, I built this AI system. The details of it are not important, but basically the outcome of the system is that once we implement it, it will unlock this business outcome and you'll be able to have insight into it the whole way. So we basically built this dashboard for you so that rather than you having to interact with the system, you can just see the results of what we're doing, the number of emails sent, pieces of content, proposals generated. You can interact with these systems in a way that's really easy to understand. And we'll just charge you $3,000 up front. If you like it, then you can just work with us on a consistent basis and we'll deliver value month after month and we'll improve the systems and we'll create and build more systems for you. What do you think? You can see how this is going to be a much more enjoyable experience. And like I said, you don't need to be better at AI trends. You need better strategy. You need to be a strategic motherfucker. Don't focus on N8N. Don't focus on N8N agents. Spend 90% of your time on offer creation on this value ladder. You start small, you work up, and eventually you become their fractional CAO, Chief AI Officer. But you build this value ladder and you make it so compelling that someone would feel stupid saying no, as Alex Hormozi says. Make it so amazing of an offer, they would feel stupid. If someone came to me and is like, for $1,000, I'll build out this insane system for you that will automate all of these things, and you only have to pay 50% up front, so it's going to be $500 to kick this off, and I will build all of this out for you. What do you think they're going to say? Sure, yeah, I'm interested. There's very little risk because I'm paying very little up front, and once you develop the results, yeah, we can talk more. And so when you're just starting out, and this is essentially the roadmap, the 90-day roadmap for you. When you're just starting out, you need to start from the beginning thinking like an AI strategist, not an implementation specialist. And so the way that you do that is think about your offers, think about who you're targeting, and the way that you target people with offers in different markets is cold email systems. Some AI gurus talk about Upwork. They talk about like community posting strategies. I've tried these. You don't want to do them. The saturation is high. The ROI on your time is low. So you want to master cold email because once you get this cold email system running, it's game over. You have an infinite amount of leads that you can reach out to every single month. And if the offer is compelling enough, they're going to want to work. I've gotten dozens, so many clients from cold email, and I know that it works. So the first thing, month 1 and 2. Month 1, if you want to scale this type of business, Month one is you'll set up your email infrastructure right away, set up 10 domains, maybe 30 or 40 inboxes, create 5 to 10 test offers. So you start thinking about this value ladder offer of like a $1,000 to $5,000 offer that then goes into a monthly retainer where you are the AI growth partner and strategist, but you basically have them in the door. You've proved the value to that client in the first month. And then once the value is proved, you transition into a, more monthly retainer type of offer. So what you want to do is you spend a lot of time on offer creation. This is where 90% of your time in the first 1 to 2 months should be. What is your offer? Who are you targeting? Why is it compelling? What are their pain points? And we teach all of this inside of AI Agent University. We talk about how to, set up your email infrastructure with all of the, technical foundations here. And then, here's how to set up Smart Lead. Here's how to set up email configuration. And then what we have is offer creation. So what we're doing here is I'll give you prompts where you can basically put these prompts in, help you figure out what the dream outcomes, pain points, the markets are, and I'll basically help you develop your offer from scratch, start to finish, and get a bunch of ideas based on your current experience of how to do that. So once you have that offer, once you have that niche, and you have maybe 5 to 10 offers and 5 to 10 markets, a lot of people say pick a niche, pick a market, pick an offer. I say, fuck that. There's potentially a lot of different offers that could work. And when you set up this cold email system, you have the luxury of testing out, 5 offers on 5 markets, right? So you have 5 different campaigns, each towards a different market, and you're split testing a different offer on each of those. So you can essentially run 25 tests per month on a volume of 10,000 emails per month. And, this is the primary offer I work with my clients is AI lead generation. And our standard, we give them 10,000 AI personalized emails per month to their ICP. And then we give them this dashboard of here's who we reached out to. Here's a split test that we ran, the campaigns that we ran. We found product market fit in these 2 niches based on the reply rate on these campaigns. And therefore, I think we should position the offer in this way and not this way. And once you get that going, maybe you'll start out with, 3 to 5 sales calls a month. And then over time, you scale this up and get better and better. You'll have 20 to 30 sales calls a month from cold email. Now, the next step is the strategic entry. So this is where you say, what is that free offer? And this is also in the offer creation up here, but it's kind of in both, right? So then you say what is your free offer that's going to show them insane levels of value? So you give them a free AI audit, or you give them some sort of free value up front where it's like, hey, I want to build you this AI system for free. I want to audit your business for free. No strings attached. I just hope that you find value at it. And if you do, would love to talk. And if not, no worries. And so you want to get your foot in the door. And so with these lead magnets, with these free audits, you can start to get your foot in the door. And you can get those conversations, those sales calls more easily. And what works best here is called like a Loom video strategy. So essentially you say something like, hey, saw you're doing XYZ. I recorded an AI systems audit for you, showing you where you can implement AI to unlock new revenue. Can I send it over? And then once they say yes, then you press record on a Loom video, do the audit for them, and send it over. And so this is kind of the foot in the door strategy. Once your foot is in the door, they'll say, sure, let's learn more. Let's hop on a call. Then you pitch them to the $1,000 to $5,000 discovery project, which is you're trying to reduce as much risk upfront as humanly possible. If it's really easy to deliver, you might even be able to do it for less than $1,000, because your idea is the less risk that the client has, the less money they have to spend, and the faster you can get it set up, the more likely it is that they're going to work with you. And then once they're working with you, once you prove the amount of value you can provide, and you frame it not as a service provider, but you are the AI expert and system strategist, then your foot is in the door, and that creates long-term, high LTV customer relationships. And, maybe you get a 50% conversion rate from the discovery project to the main, but let's say you get, 3 clients in a month, 50% conversion rate, 1 to 2 are now on a 3 to 5K per month retainer. You do that over time, you're already at 10K a month, right? So you want to provide and promise the specific outcomes, not just the AI systems, and over deliver on that. And then, as I said, over time, you're becoming their AI partner. You're giving them weekly strategy calls. You're the advisor. You're going into their business. You're using different AI tools to help you use business frameworks to strategically figure out what AI solutions will be best for them. You audit their entire business. You create them a 3 to 6 month roadmap for how they could implement, which systems they should implement at each month of that roadmap and what opportunities that would unlock. Then you propose it to them. So this is like a 15 to 25K LTV projects, but that doesn't mean that it's upfront. It's 15 to 25K LTV, but it is in like a 4K per month package, right? And you basically want to become so embedded in their operations that you become indispensable. The AI systems become so good that you've automated so many parts of their business that it's like, oh yeah, it's a no-brainer 4K a month because they've already built out these 3 different systems and automated so much. And then after month 6, you can get on an even higher retainer and say like, hey, I want to become like the chief AI officer of your company. I want to manage and oversee, this, and you have a team that's building out all these systems for you, but you become the strategist, the roadmap owner. You're training their team. This is a really big thing, actually. If it's a larger company, they don't want to just have this system and get it handed off. They want you to integrate it into their current operations, which means that they want you to have calls with their team and they want you to create Loom video SOPs and documentation and training. You have to think not just about what is a system that I'm building and selling, but how will this unlock revenue for the business and how will their current team members integrate into the system? And that's what most people don't think about. If you do this, within 12 months, you can be hitting with just a few clients, at least 10K MRR, obviously more. And this is not easy. I'm not saying this is easy. This is a, 12-month roadmap, like a year of solid work. This isn't like going to happen tomorrow, but I guarantee you can get to at least a minimum a 10K MRR. And if you are really good and if you're really good with people and you're a strategist, you could probably get to a lot higher. But if you're not, you're going to need to spend time, just building that skill and the skill acquisition of getting on calls with people and developing charisma. Charisma is a trait you can develop, believe it or not. And so you start with the domains, the inboxes, the setup. You scrape leads and information and personalize them. You write the sequences. Once you're ready to launch, you start at 50 per day per inbox. Or that's not right. You start at 20 emails per day per inbox. And then with enough inboxes, then maybe you scale to 25. But with enough inboxes, you can hit 10,000 leads per month, no problem. And if you have, even a small percentage of those people that you're reaching out to are on sales calls, then you're already generating tons and tons and tons of opportunities. And so at the end of the day, this is the roadmap. You're using cold email, you're building offers, you're testing markets, and you're figuring out what works. And you're positioning yourself not as someone that builds AI agents and creates automations and does N8N workflows where you're in a race to the bottom competing on price with every other person in the market that does this. You're transforming yourself into an AI business partner and consultant and strategist and an implementation specialist. So it's not just like, I'm an AI consultant, I'm going to tell you what to do. Maybe over time, once you build enough authority and credibility, you can take that consultant role. But for now, you want to become both the implementation specialist and the consultant. I help scale these types of businesses to 10 mil ARR with a suite of AI infrastructure products and services. I transform, it's value-based pricing because you can say, I charge 10 grand a month, but it's not like because I charge $1,000 per hour. It's like because I get you these results and 10K a month is going to be a no-brainer when I get you these level of results in your business. And so at the end of the day, this is how you get into these companies and do really well. And so the next thing I want to say here is that you have to be really good at sales. Sales is a skill that you will have to practice, and it's a skill that anyone can learn. I truly believe anyone can learn this skill. It's not, even if you're introverted, I've always seen myself as an introverted person, but I, force myself to get over this hurdle, and that's where the revenue is. So you can, say, I help XYZ do this, and then you're asking them questions. Hey, what is your problem? What is your bottleneck? Help me understand your business. And then you're asking them questions and questions and questions. And as they've revealed more and more about their business, maybe they'll ask like, what do you do? And then you give them your pitch. But then you have risk reversals, guarantees, but you want to ask them as many questions as you can. And so you paint the vision for them. It's a low risk offer. Here's what it is. Here's what we do. Based on everything that you've said, I think this would be what would work best for you. Let's start with this quick win. And so, and then you have the onboarding process and the strategy calls. And so I have frameworks and call outlines and processes for each of these in the community here. So all of this stuff is systematized in the community. We actually have weekly calls where we do sales master classes, where we do, here's how you do lead generation for AI offers. Here's how you do AI offer creation. Here's how you do AI like sales workshops. So we have in here AI sales workshops, right? And so this is absolutely something you can learn. And once you understand the roadmap, once you understand that you need to get better at sales, and that's a skill that you can develop, and once you understand the model, which is not trying to race to the bottom, compete on the like smallest $500 per month, Upwork projects, but you're competing in a ocean of one. It's just you, because you have value-based pricing. You're seen as valuable. You're a consultant and a strategist, and your income is detached from your time. The worst thing that you can have happen is you don't want to be the person, like you're delivering like dashboards like this. Like, here's a dashboard we're building for clients right now, and yeah, you just don't want to be in the position where the amount of money that you make is tied to the amount of time that you spend building out these N8N automations, because then you will forever be stuck in a new form of wage slavery. If you truly want to scale and increase the amount of revenue that you can generate, you eventually will need to go into the strategist consultant role, focus on business outcomes, results, revenue growth, and be able to price based on value, not based on hours. So I hope you found this valuable. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.